If you're thinking about moving to Austin, Texas and buying a home, this video is for you. So last week, my team and I were on a Zoom call with a family who are relocating here to the Austin area. They found us on YouTube, just like you. And in their original email to us, they told us a few things that were important to them. So one, they told us their budget. Two, they told us where the husband's new office was gonna be. And three, they told us that the school district was super important to them. And they were really surprised when we got on our intro video call, and straight out of the gate, I told them, guys, I already know where you're gonna live. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I was right. So in this video, we're gonna jump into the main parts of Austin, and I'm gonna recommend one neighborhood for each part of town. This is gonna be very tough. So first, let's jump into North Austin. So a lot of people that we meet with are moving to North Austin, and the reason for that is because a lot of job growth has happened in North Austin over the last several years. So there's a part of town called the Domain. It's in Northwest Austin. It's essentially at Mopac or Loop 1 and Highway 183. And a lot of companies out there are like, you know, IBM, Facebook, Apple, Indeed, Verbo, all sorts of stuff like that. Dell Computers or Dell Industries is in Round Rock. So a lot of the tech growth has happened around there. So a lot of the people that we meet with are like, well, I don't want to be too far away from my office, so it looks like I'm moving to North Austin. Now, if that sounds like you, that's awesome. Definitely give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, because we want to point you to the right area where your commute is not going to be too bad at all. But off the top of my head, I'm going to recommend one area, but off the top of my head, you know, if you wanted to be in kind of Northwest Austin, I would say you should look in Northwest Austin or the suburbs of Cedar Park, Leander, Liberty Hill, Georgetown, even over in Round Rock and Pflugerville. Even though those are more kind of Northeast Austin, still a lot of people live over there because the prices are really great, and the commute into the Domain is really not bad at all. Honestly, the commute into downtown Austin really isn't bad at all either. But if you were to sit me down and say, Barrett, I want to be in North Austin, point me to the best possible neighborhood for me without knowing any other information about you, I would point you to the North Austin suburb of Georgetown, to the wonderful neighborhood of Wolf Ranch. So a couple great things about Wolf Ranch are, number one, it's incredibly family friendly. It's crazy. Every time I filmed out there, and I filmed out there a lot, there's just kids everywhere, riding their bikes, playing basketball, playing football, walking home from school. It's just, there's a school actually in the community, and it's just incredibly family friendly and super idyllic. Like, it actually reminds me of a newer version of the type of neighborhood that I grew up in suburban Houston. And their amenity center is super nice. They've actually got multiple amenity centers, and one of them was actually voted like the best amenity in all of the Austin area by the Austin Business Journal recently. It is crazy, crazy nice. They got a great fitness center. The pools there are incredible, and it's just a really, really cool, vibrant, family-friendly neighborhood. Another thing I love about Wolf Ranch is that some of our very favorite builders build out there. So like Perry Homes, Highland Homes, David Weekley, I think Coventry is out there. But to me, it's just like an all-star list of some of the best builders that you could possibly ask for in Central Texas. Oh, actually, Drees Custom Homes also builds out there. And we actually recently did a tour of Wolf Ranch, comparing two homes from Drees. So if you want to check that out, you can watch that right here. But the homes there are stunning. You know what's crazy is we actually just helped a client buy a home out in Wolf Ranch a couple months ago. She reached out to us from YouTube, just like you. You notice a theme here? And we got her $175,000 off of the list price on her home. Crazy! So if you want access to deals like that, you gotta get a hold of us. A lot of these builders, you know, they've got a lot of inventory sitting, and they really wanna get them sold. They wanna get them off their books. So if that sounds interesting to you, Wolf Ranch looks to you just as lovely as it actually is, you gotta give us a call. There's a camera. Isn't that crazy? See? Boom. Now, the only cons I would say about Wolf Ranch are, number one, the school district. So Georgetown ISD, there are some really great schools out there. And I would say almost all the schools that you're gonna be zoned to when you're living out in Wolf Ranch are gonna be totally adequate to great. But suffice to say, out in Georgetown ISD, the school system can be a little bit spotty. It's definitely not one of the top 5 school districts in Central Texas. So if Georgetown in general looks or sounds awesome to you, you got to get a hold of us because we want to point you in the right direction if you want to give your kids the best shot at going to the best rated schools. Another kind of con I would say about Wolf Ranch is just that it is in Georgetown, which is my favorite suburb in all of the Austin area. However, the commute times, if you're working in central Austin, can be pretty darn brutal, okay? So one way, you're gonna wanna count on at least 45 minutes a day, one way, commuting in and out of Georgetown. So if you're working like unorthodox business hours, you work remotely, or maybe you only have to go into the office once or twice a week, then that neighborhood might be, or Georgetown in general might be totally fine for you. Now, if you want some like detailed pricing about home prices in Wolf Ranch, definitely get a hold of us. But in general, you're gonna wanna plan on paying kind of $475 on the very low end, upwards to kind of like 800,000 to 900,000 if you're wanting something more high end, a little bit more luxury. Now, for each of these parts of town, I'm gonna recommend like what I think is a sensible option with like really great kind of price to quality ratios going on here. But for each part of town, I'm gonna also give you a more kind of upscale luxury alternative, just in case you have a little bit more money to spend. So on that note, with North Austin and Georgetown specifically, if you had a little bit more money to spend, I would definitely recommend taking a look at a neighborhood called Cimarron Hills. So I've also been out to Cimarron Hills recently. It is absolutely gorgeous. They're more kind of estate, I'm not gonna say acreage homes, but the lots are much bigger. It's a golf course community. It really feels like you're living out in a resort. So they got tennis courts, pools, fitness center, like it is just absolutely stunning out there. But you're gonna wanna plan on paying about $900,000 on the low end, up to like $1.6, $1.7 million on the high end. But if you can afford it, it's definitely worth taking a look at. And you know what? Actually, I lied. There's one more neighborhood in Northwest Austin, if that is an area that sounds more attractive to you. It's in Leander, and it's a neighborhood called Treviso. So it's a huge neighborhood. It's another one of these neighborhoods that just feels like you're living out in a resort. Lots of amenities, multiple amenity centers, great builders out there. You got Toll Brothers, but you got everybody out there, all right? And out there, you're also gonna wanna plan on paying about $900,000 to $1.5 million. So that was North Austin. Now we're gonna move on to another really popular part of the greater Austin area, which is West Austin. So we get a lot of people reaching out because, you know, West Austin kind of gets you, it's like the gateway to the hill country, right? It's a little more upscale in general, a little bit more luxury. It's a little bit more kind of slower pace of life. And it gets you a little more space and you can just breathe a little bit easier out there. So if I personally were moving out to West Austin, the one neighborhood that I would recommend if I could only choose one would be none other than Headwaters. Okay, so we were out at Headwaters recently as well. It's a super great neighborhood that I feel like goes really kind of under the radar. And like, I've been really shocked at how many people really don't know about that area. And it's stupid because it's so awesome. So to me, it's like quintessential new construction Dripping Springs, all right? Now, a couple really great things about it. Some of this is gonna sound like a broken record. There's lots of great builders out there. So Toll Brothers builds out there. Usually Toll Brothers only builds like big mansion style homes like the ones that they have out in Treviso. But in Headwaters, they have a really, really great sensible product line out there, and you do not have to pay an arm and a leg out there. So they've also got David Weekley and several of the other builders that we love. Now, very similar to Wolf Ranch, I think Headwaters, what I love about it are the great amenities and the family-friendly vibes, okay? Again, we were out there recently and it's just like freaking kids everywhere and like evidence of kids everywhere. So there are basketball goals all over the place, bikes, you know, footballs, basketballs, things like that. Like, it has to be just like a kid's paradise to live out there. Another thing I love about Headwaters is the natural scenery, like the natural beauty just all around you. Like, this is quintessential Texas hill country living. And honestly, something that I think is really cool about Headwaters is people really take care of their crap, all right? Like, it is dialed out there. So if you are not the type of person who, you know, you don't want to really just have to mow your lawn all the time or keep your house and your yard looking spick and span, then you might be repulsed by a place like Headwaters. But if you want to be surrounded by natural and unnatural beauty, so I guess that cleaning your house would make it unnaturally beautiful, I don't know, then you probably love a place like Headwaters. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but if you're living out in Headwaters, your kids are going to be zoned to Dripping Springs ISD. And every year, Dripping Springs ISD is like the #3 rated school district in all of Central Texas. And get this, Eanes ISD in West Austin is always #1. The average home price is about $3 million. The second highest rated school district is always Lake Travis ISD. Average single family home price is $1.5 million. And #3 is Dripping Springs ISD, where the average home price is about $700,000 or $800,000. So unreasonably well priced for the quality of schools that you get. There's no two ways about it. Now, the only couple cons I would say about Headwaters is the commute into Austin. So you're living out in Dripping Springs, one of the only ways that you can get in and out of town is on Highway 290, and especially during rush hour, the traffic on 290 is absolutely brutal. Another con I would say about Headwaters is that for people who are moving out there, you kind of get this idea that you're moving out to the country, I'm gonna get me some land and have me some cattle. But then you get out to Headwaters and you're like, oh, it's really beautiful out here, but these yards, these lots are pretty tiny. So just something that you're gonna want to expect. And in terms of prices out in Headwaters, of course, there are a lot of factors at play, but you're gonna want to expect to pay about $650,000 on the lower end, and you can definitely get up to $950,000, closer to $1 million on the higher end. Now, if I were moving out to Dripping Springs and I had a little bit more budget, I had a little bit more money to spend, or a lot of bit more money to spend, I would definitely take a look at a neighborhood right down the road from Headwaters, and it's called Calaterra. Calaterra is freaking awesome, okay? And the prices out there are anywhere kind of from $750,000 to $1.3 million, but out there you've got, again, some really great builders.
Are you filming me?
Oh my gosh! Aaron sighting #1. Oh my gosh, dude. Yo, when I say Aaron's taken, he's taken by her. Oh my gosh. You know, that's just something that's awesome about Austin. Like literally my film guy, Aaron, I ran into him and his wife, Haley. Like we weren't even filming together today. We weren't even planning on that. We just ran into each other. Just Austin is the biggest small town. I'm serious. All right, I don't even remember where I was, but the home prices in Calaterra run around $750,000 to $1.3 million. And out there, some of our favorite builders are out there as well. And out there, you're almost guaranteed to get a much larger lot than you would at Headwaters. Super beautiful, the amenities are great, and that's why it's a bit more pricey. I also wanted to give another alternative. This is just kind of a bonus. If you were wanting to be in kind of West Austin, but maybe Dripping Springs was a tiny bit too far out, I would definitely take a look at Lakeway, and I would take a look at the neighborhood of Rough Hollow. Like literally, we have had clients who have bought out in Rough Hollow, and they say it actually feels like you're living out on a resort every day. The amenities are wild. The pools are insane. The parks are crazy. There's trails like mountain biking, hiking, running trails all over the place. There's a great marina. Like it's just absolutely absurd out there. And to be honest, out in Rough Hollow, the prices vary wildly depending on how big your lot is, how updated the house is, and like how close you are to the lake, or if you're actually waterfront. So if you want to be out in Rough Hollow and Lakeway, plan on spending about $900,000 to $2 million. All right, now let's talk about South Austin. Okay, so South Austin is really interesting to me, and it's very close to my heart because growing up, coming to Austin, so I always say this, but my kids are 7th generation Austinites, and I am the only one of those 7 generations that was not born here. That's pretty freaking nuts. So my dad, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, great-grandparents, they're all from here. So I've been coming here my whole life. I lived here for 20 years now, so I would consider myself an Austinite, okay? And if you don't agree, you're dumb. Anyway, and so for me, like coming to visit Austin for holidays and in the summers and everything, I just assumed South Austin was all there was. So I absolutely love it. And South Austin definitely feels a little bit, not even a little bit, it feels pretty discernibly different than a lot of areas of North Austin. North Austin definitely feels like there's a lot more going on. It's a lot more corporate, kind of entrepreneurial startups and things like that. South Austin just feels like a little bit slower pace of life. It's a little bit more like, I would say, down to earth. Yeah, like a lot of artists, musicians, things like that live down in South Austin. So I absolutely love it. Look at these guys getting their workout on out here at the park, listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, so I don't know why that's funny to me. So anyway, if I were to pick one neighborhood in South Austin, I would probably take you down to Kyle. So Kyle is right off of I-35. So if you take I-35 south out of Austin, you're gonna go right through the South Austin suburb of Buda. And if you keep going south, you're gonna run right smack into the middle of Kyle. And there's a great neighborhood on the west side of Kyle called Six Creeks. And this is another one of those neighborhoods that I do not hear enough people talking about. Like, there are certain neighborhoods where I'm like, everybody's moving there, it's blowing up, it's super popular. This is not one of those neighborhoods, but it should be, and it probably will be someday. So being out in Kyle and Six Creeks, it's a lot flatter than some of the other areas like Georgetown, Dripping Springs, Lakeway that I've been talking about. It's a bit flatter. It's a lot of just kind of like farmland out there that has been recently converted to residential neighborhoods. So like literally driving out there, you're gonna see like a lot of cow fields, just a lot of farmland out there, all right? And so when you're out there, you just really feel like you're kind of off the beaten path. It's beautiful. Actually, so Perry Homes is one of my favorite builders in Central Texas, and Six Creeks, I'm gonna go ahead and say is probably my favorite Perry Homes neighborhood in the Austin area. We've been out there a lot, and it's great. We've had clients move out there. It is so awesome. The homes are great. The amenities are great. It's super family friendly. Like, I really can't say enough great things about Six Creeks. Now, I would say the one humongous pro about Six Creeks, apart from everything I already just mentioned, like it's incredibly family friendly and the amenities, is the prices out there. Like, the price per square foot for what you can get out at Six Creeks is crazy good. And on that note, one of the only cons I can think of for Six Creeks, again, this is a common theme for a lot of these places, is the commute to downtown Austin is pretty brutal. You gotta get onto I-35 if you wanna get anywhere in and out of Austin. And like I always say, guess who invented I-35? Satan. But you know what? For what you can get out in Six Creeks, I would take the commute. It's not a problem, but that's just me. What about you? Is that something you're looking for? If it is, let us know. We want to get you the best commute possible, but we need to know about you. We need to know you. We need to know what you're looking for. So the home prices in Six Creeks are crazy. On the low end, we're thinking like, I would say 400,000s to the 600,000s. Now, with upgrades and things like that, you could easily get into the 700,000-800,000s. But for what you can get for $500,000-$600,000 out there is psychotic, okay? But you know what? My team and I, we talk a lot about this with our clients. And so one thing that we always like to say is usually people want three main things, okay? They want a good price, a good commute, and family friendliness, okay? We always say you get to pick two, okay? You cannot have all three. Now that doesn't mean that you have to throw one of those three completely out the window, but it does mean that you do have to pretty significantly compromise on one of those criteria, and that's just the way it is. So we can get you family friendly and a really great commute, but you're gonna need to pay top dollar. Or we can get you a great price on a home in a super family friendly neighborhood that's awesome, but you're gonna need a commute for it. Now, if you were down with being in South Austin, or that's where you wanted to be, and you could spend a little bit more money, I would definitely point you to the Buda neighborhood of Elliott Ranch. So it's in the South Austin suburb of Buda. It's a neighborhood called Elliott Ranch. And out there, you're gonna wanna plan on paying about $650,000 to $900,000. There's no new construction out there. They stopped building out there a long time ago. But out there, you're gonna get big houses on big lots. And like, seriously, Aaron and I were filming out there recently, and there were kids like driving their four-wheelers out there. So a lot of people go out to areas like Elliott Ranch because like it is quintessential, just Texas hillbilly living. I'm just kidding, they're not hillbillies out there. I love Elliott Ranch, it's actually nuts. Okay, now let's talk about East Austin, okay? Now, a lot of the people who typically reach out to us about wanting to live in East Austin typically want really easy access to the airport, or maybe the F1 track, so Circuit of the Americas or something like that. But it's usually people who want really easy access to the airport. Now, if that was what you wanted and you wanted to be east, I would definitely point you to the East Austin suburb of Bastrop, specifically to the neighborhood called The Colony. It is an absolute no-brainer. In fact, we had a family reach out to us recently from YouTube. The husband's job is gonna be right around the Austin airport. And they were like, we want to be in Austin, but we don't want to be right around all kind of the hustle and bustle. We want to feel like we're really moving to Texas, not just Austin. And I was like, the Colony, that is where you're going to live. I'm telling you right now, we're actually showing them 6 houses in the Colony this weekend, and we're super stoked. If you're watching this, you know exactly who you are. And it's a really fascinating neighborhood. So like a lot of the Colony, they started building it in the early 2000s, and it's a little bit more kind of spread out, bigger lots, a little bit more upscale. A lot of it is gated, a little bit, I don't even want to say luxury, just for Bastrop, it's a little bit more upscale. It's kind of like the Highland Park of Dallas, if you will, or like the River Oaks of Houston, but in Bastrop. So it's like super scaled down, but they're actually still building there. We were out there recently, we toured a Scott Felder home, or was it Ashton Woods? I can't remember. And yeah, those homes, the newer parts of it are a little bit more dense, so smaller lots, a little bit more cookie cutter, if you will, but still super, super nice. One of the main pros of being in the Colony in Bastrop is that you get to be in Bastrop. And Bastrop is freaking legit, okay? It's one of those like quintessential kind of historic Texas downtown types of towns. Like the Colorado River runs east out of Austin, like right through the middle of Bastrop, and it is absolutely gorgeous. A lot of really cool kind of mom and pop boutique shops all up and down the main strip. It's just like, it's beautiful, and it's what a lot of people are looking for when they really think about wanting to live in Texas. And kind of like I mentioned before, another pro of the Colony is that you're in Bastrop in general is you get to be like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Austin. So it's perfect for people who are like, they want to be close and have access to things in Austin without actually having to live smack in the middle of like the crazy busy hustle and bustle of the city of Austin. So it's a great alternative for people who want to be here, but they don't want to be right here. And you know, one of the cons of the Colony, and again, Bastrop in general, is that the school system out there is not super strong. Like, it can be a little bit hit or miss. So if you were to tell me, hey, Barrett, having a world-class school system is the #1 most important thing for me and my family, I would probably point you away from Bastrop, I'd point you away from the Colony, and I'd honestly probably point you away from anywhere in East Austin in general. Now, a realistic price point, if you wanted to be out in the Colony, is you're gonna start with like the new construction around $450,000 to $500,000, and you can definitely get up to $800,000. And then I would say for the older, kind of more established parts of the neighborhood, again, bigger houses, bigger lots, you're probably gonna start around $800,000, and you can easily get up into the low millions. Okay, now a bit of an upscale alternative to Bastrop and the Colony. Let's say you had more money to spend and you did want to be in the city of Austin. You're like, I do want to be right in the middle of all the hustle and bustle. Well, then I would probably point you to the Holly Street neighborhood in East Austin. Now that's going to be just east of I-35 and just south of Cesar Chavez. And what you're going to get down there is like, it's super hip, super vibrant. It is insanely walkable. And so the price points that you're gonna be looking at right around there are gonna be somewhere around kind of 800,000 just to get in. And you can easily go up to about 1.5 million for something with a bit more square footage, and it's gonna be a bit more luxury. All right, now let's talk about one of my favorite parts of the entire Austin area, and that is gonna be Central Austin. So don't get me wrong, we love working out in the suburbs, out in the outskirts of Austin. There's a ton of great master plan communities, a lot of great acreage communities, but a lot of people do reach out to us and they say, hey, I am working downtown and I really do wanna be as close to my office as possible. I'm talking literally, I wanna be like a 5 to 10 minute drive from my office. So I wanna be Central Austin. Now, huge caveat, if that is you and you actually want to live in the city of Austin and live pretty centrally, you are gonna have to pay up. Like, you are gonna have to pay a pretty penny. So the average home price in Austin right now for a single family home is around $700,000 to $730,000, and that's the average. Like, we have homes that are $20, $30 million, and we've got homes that are kind of $350,000, $4,000, but a lot of those homes are gonna be kind of tear down meth houses that like you're not gonna wanna live in. You're gonna have to renovate it, and so like effectively it's gonna turn into a $750,000 to $800,000 house. Does that make sense? But if you were like, Barrett, show me the best value in Central Austin, I'm not giving you any other criteria, I just wanna live in Central Austin, I would without question, without hesitation, point you to the Central East Austin neighborhood of Mueller. And that's actually where I'm at today. So that's where I've been walking around this entire time. So I absolutely love this neighborhood. it is a fascinating master plan community. So this is, I would say this is Central Austin's only true master plan community. So it started in kind of the mid 2000s. I want to say it started around 2009, 2010, something like that, maybe a little bit before, but it is fascinating. So it's got a mix of kind of like market priced homes with also affordable housing. But when a lot of people hear affordable housing, they think of like huge high-rise tenements and things like that from Queens or Brooklyn, but this is not like that at all. It's super well integrated, and there's just like parks, pools, retail all over the place. I mean, it is an absolutely gorgeous day outside today. And I mean, the sun's starting to go down and you got tons of people. There's like bands playing, you got music, there's people working out over here. There's people doing like a Camp Gladiator or CrossFit workout or something over here. People with their dogs. I seen babies, I seen old people with canes. Like, everybody is out here today and it is gorgeous. So you've got a mix of housing out here. So you've got condos, you have townhomes. There's a good portion of the neighborhood that's just single family homes. But one of the really cool things out here is it's super safe for being this close to downtown Austin. There's sidewalks everywhere. You got kids running around playing everywhere. There's like basketball courts, there's pools. I play tennis just right across the street every Saturday. This is just like super, super idyllic. Someone actually recently, a client of ours who moved into this neighborhood several years ago, they were just like, Barrett, it's incredible out here. It's like the Truman Show in a good way, like every single day. And yeah, super walkable, lots of sidewalks. You got a lot of retail. So there's Alamo Draft House, there's coffee, there's restaurants, there's bars, there's the Children's Museum. I mean, you pretty much got everything out here. So in addition to all of that, I would say a couple pros about Mueller are that it's like social, but not chaotic. Like, I feel like you can be kind of an introvert or an extrovert and you will love it here. If you put any effort into it at all, you're gonna make friends. Like, you're gonna talk to people, you're gonna get to know your neighbors. But also, if you're an introvert, you can just kind of chill, go on a bike ride. There's some people riding their bike right here. I meant go on a walk, but then I see all these people riding their bikes. See, that's what you do in Mueller. You can just take your dog on a walk, throw in some AirPods, and no one is gonna bother you. I've also been seeing people all around the Mueller Lake Park that's just right over the hill here. They're just chilling, reading, meditating, just chilling. Another huge pro about Mueller is just the super easy commute to downtown. So I know people who live here in this neighborhood, clients of ours who work in tech. We've had clients who work for the University of Texas. It's just, I know people who literally ride a scooter. I'm not even talking about one of those motorized scooters. One of our clients literally rides like a push scooter to the University of Texas every single day for work. Yeah, people who work at the Capitol, who work in state government, all that kind of stuff live here because the commute is so easy. And I would say the only couple of cons I would say about Mueller are, like I mentioned, I mean, the lot sizes are pretty small. So I mean, look at these houses right behind me here. You can see like, there's not a lot of room in between them, okay? And a lot of them don't even have backyards at all. They just back up to an alley and they literally do not have a backyard. But a lot of the houses do have a tiny little backyard. But if you are moving to Mueller because you want space, you want privacy, and you want to be able to spread out, then you are gonna be sorely disappointed when you get here. And another downside of Mueller is it's pretty high price per square foot. So you're not gonna see a lot of 3,000-4,000 square feet houses out here. And if you are, you're gonna pay millions of dollars for them. So a lot of the houses are 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes here. Things are pretty tight, they're pretty compact. And on that note, what to expect in terms of price ranges out here in Mueller, you're probably gonna pay around $700,000 on the low end to at least $1 million on the upper end, but you could easily get into the 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 millions if you do want one of those bigger, more upscale, more luxury options out here. In terms of a more upscale option, if you had some more money to spend and you said you wanted to be in Central Austin, there is no way I would put you to anywhere other than Tarrytown. Okay, so we love Tarrytown. We've been in Tarrytown a lot on this channel. And so Tarrytown is just kind of right around Lake Austin. Lake Austin kind of hugs the southwest portion of Tarrytown, and it goes all the way up to about 38th Street. It's between the lake and Mopac. And guys, like, this is where kind of Central Austin's elite lives, all right? You got anywhere from kind of bungalows, like super historic, really cute tasteful, very well appointed smaller houses to like literal mansions, like literal like estates. So if you hang around Tarrytown enough, I mean, you're gonna see some famous people. You're probably gonna see some politicians, some actors, some musicians, people like that. So it's really beautiful out there. I absolutely love the way the terrain just kind of varies out there. It kind of reminds me of certain neighborhoods in Seattle. You're just out there and you're just like, man, it's beautiful. And it's a very kind of aspirational neighborhood. So a lot of people just kind of live a lot of their days in Austin, kind of dreaming of living in Tarrytown. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Tarrytown and buying a home, what you're gonna want to expect in terms of prices is at least 1.5 million on the low end, up to closer to 4 or 5 million on the higher end. But again, you could easily go into the kind of 7, 8, 9 millions if you want to really go all out for kind of a big old Mac Daddy house. And if you want to see how all of these areas fit into the greater context of Austin, you got to check out our full map tours playlist right here.